Hey everyone, welcome to DKFC, where we're talking Week 36 in the Premier League. Joining me, Edo Delamonte, Andy Davies, and Tyrone Atkins. Now, in DraftKings, you got to put together an 11-man squad. You got to put together goalie, defense, midfielders, forward, utility. Hey, how do you choose this? How do you choose which people to do? What is the logic? I'm going to ask these guys. I'm going to ask these guys, hey, who did you pick in this one? So I'll start out with Tyrone. In goal, what do you got in goal this week, Tyrone?
Right, okay. Yeah, there's going to be a slight influx from one particular team in my my 11, and it's going to be Watford because they're playing Villa. They're playing Villa, so it's common sense, but also there's some bargains there. So I'm going to pick a goalkeeper I picked several times before. He usually does well. He averages over nearly 8 points a game. And he only costs $4,000. I've gone for Gomez. Gomez of Watford. He's my guy, and he should have a half decent afternoon against Villa, I reckon. So there we are.
Edo, who's your in goal?
I completely agree.
Oh.
Aurelio Gomez. Although at Tottenham he was more like Hilario Gomez, but he's over that because he's averaging 7.7, and he's playing an absolutely terrible team. I thought their goals against Southampton, and I agree with you there. They were lucky goals. They were summer-friendly goals. They're not going to score those against Watford, who will be dejected after the FA Cup, but they're still much better than Villa. And they are in kind of we can't mess around anymore mode because just like Crystal Palace, they've lost a fair too many games for a team that's in the FA Cup final. They now have to recover just a little bit. Aston Villa still had chances against Southampton, so that could be we could be getting points from saves here for Gomez. I still think he'll get a clean sheet. Maybe, I think he'll be good.
Andy, you hate goalies. Are you Gomezing as well?
No.
Oh.
Now, I did originally decide I was going to try and pick a team of former Spurs players, but I lost the will to live. So I reverted back to type. I was thinking of Gomez, but I couldn't afford him. I had very little left for my defence and goalkeeper, as you will see through the rest of my team. So I went for big bad Boaz Myhill of West Brom. Because he's going to play. He was very good against Tottenham. He played very well against Spurs. He's only 3.3 thousand and he averages 6.1 points a game. So I've gone for the bearded monster.
Good.
Boaz Myhill.
Good budget logic in there. Edo, defense. What have we done with your money here? How have you spent it around?
I've tended to save it more for the midfield here.
Okay.
However, we still have some valid players. Aaron Cresswell of West Ham United, because he averages 8.6 a game. He's worth 3,900. Good all-round player. Mikel Antonio, just for a second, counts as a midfielder here and costs 5,000. That's my guy. That was my guy. But since he's not really a midfielder, he's a defender.
Been playing him further back lately, isn't he, as well?
Yeah, exactly. And same for Brunt at West Brom. He's not really a defender, playing forwards, because he's taking away budget defenders from us here at DraftKings. So that's an official complaint there. But so West Brom, I still think that they'll be average on the wings. And West Ham have really hit their stride, and Cresswell's been doing well at almost everything. So at that kind of price, I really like him. Then, we are also going to be picking off of Aston Villa's carcass here by going for Neom, 7.1 a game, $3,100. Yeah, he was a starter in the FA Cup. So, there's an issue with Neom is that there's a lot of turnover with Flores' teams. One fullback plays one game, then another one plays another. However, here he does tend to be if he was a starter against Crystal Palace, I'm going to bet he'll use him in this important game as well. And I do think that Aston Villa looked awful on the flanks. You know, Hutton on one side, absolutely terrible. Bakuna does attack a lot. So, obviously that's not the same as Neom's, but Aston Villa look horrific at the moment. So 3,100, that's brilliant. And the third one, we had a laugh about him earlier, DeAndre Yedlin, 3,200.
Who was laughing about DeAndre Yedlin?
Everyone in the world.
Not me.
Tottenham's fourth choice right back.
I'll be speaking about him later.
Please do.
Great, but there was excitement about DeAndre in the USA before he moved to Europe because, Seattle, they liked him, and obviously he managed to sneak into that 2014 squad. So there is talent there. Not Tottenham talent, maybe, but Sunderland talent? Staying up in the league, just about talent? Let's hope so. Right, and I really like how Sunderland have been playing of late. A lot of charging down the wings. So he averages 4.8. Ignore that. I think it'll be better here.
Andy, how about your defenders? As you hate them sometimes too. Do we love these ones? Or?
No, I've gone really cheap. I don't like any of my defenders. I've gone cheap, as I always do. I've gone for average points compared to how much they cost. So I've gone for Phil Bardsley as one of my defenders. 3,000, averages 7 points a game. I've gone for big bad Alan Hutton. He's the only, I'm one of 3 survivors from my former Spurs greats team.
Yes.
I couldn't bring myself to keep Yunus Kabul in there, or DeAndre Yedlin. But I've gone for Alan Hutton. He does like to bomb forward, and I think this Villa have got nothing to play for, and I don't care. He hasn't even got a Scotland squad to impress for the Euros, bless him. So I think Alan Hutton's going to do something, whether it's punch somebody, whether
We don't give points for
whether
punches.
it's slash someone's tyres after the
No
game.
points for that either.
But he might bomb forward and get some crosses in. It's unlikely. Then I've gone for a player I do like, and I do think is a very good player, and that's Winston Reid of West Ham. For a centre half, it's 7.6 points a game, which is pretty good for a centre half, and he's exactly the same price as Alan Hutton. So hey, you may as well get a decent player in claret and blue in your side for that amount of money. So it's going to be Winston Reid. So they're my defenders.
Tyrone, these guys have saved a lot of money on the defenders. How about yourself? What have you done here?
I've saved money, but I've also managed to select a Tyrone's greatest hit.
Oh my God! Cue the soundtrack. Here we go.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
Anyone.
All right, go ahead.
Yes.
The best Tyrone Atkins defence in the world ever.
Absolutely. This is the now compilation of Tyrone's
Wow.
defences over the months that we've been doing this. But yes, I will get through this quick. I think if you watch this regularly,
I
you'll
can tell
know,
you,
like,
I reckon it
Go
is.
on and guess.
Right?
Go on.
You've gone for Neom.
Yes.
Yep.
You've gone for DeAndre Yedlin
Yes.
And from Newcastle,
from Newcastle.
No.
no.
No, a defender for Newcastle. Come on.
Aston Villa defender.
Used to play for Chelsea. Might be on loan from Chelsea.
Oh, Nathan Ake.
Nathan Ake. There we go. So I've got Alan Nyom, who rarely lets me down. Averages over 7 now. A good bomber. He's great. Nathan Ake, wonderful. Love his hair. Wish he had more opportunities back at Chelsea, but he's had a good campaign with Watford. He's really come on. He has blossomed, and he's averages over 7. He's also really cheap around the 3,000s. And of course, DeAndre Yedlin, who will prove himself. He will prove himself in the Premier League. He will prove himself in England. And next year, who knows, he might prove himself at Spurs.
Nah.
We'll see. But Sunderland, I think they're going to have a good day at Stoke. And DeAndre Yedlin, since he's been brought back into the team about 6 weeks ago or so, he is increasing in confidence. His price is actually reflecting that, as is his point. So that is my defence. They're cheap, but they're all very cheap.
You talk about him like he's like a kind of a slightly special kid at school. His confidence has really grown since they let him back. Since they let him back at the 3B, his confidence has grown. His self-esteem is much better now, and it's reflected in his exam results.
And his efforts. And
Got a B+ for home economics.
He's no longer a biter.
Craft the shank in woodwork.
So Tyrone is very enthused about his defenders. Andy, are you as enthused about your midfielders? Who you got in midfield?
Oh wow, my midfield's awesome.
Is it as good as Tyrone's?
Oh, it's better.
defenders? Oh, come
I
on.
definitely have got the best midfield out of you guys.
Tyrone, do you know what his is going to be? Do you know?
no, because I don't look at his sheet.
No, it's not, and it's not a greatest hits,
Right.
because obviously Shaqiri's not in it. But I've gone for Dimitri Payet, because you just cannot, if you can afford him, he's like the Ronaldo of Premier League DraftKings. You
Yeah.
just have to pick him. You look at his scores. Even when West Ham could get humped 5-0 and he'd still score 19 points or something ridiculous. Average is 19.9 a game, 8.2 thousand. He's just, for me, other than Spurs players, he's my favourite player of the Premier League. He's just brilliant, and it takes a lot for me to say that about a West Ham player. Then I've also got another survivor from my Spurs Legends 11, Andros Townsend. You can't not pick him at the moment.
He's on your list pretty much every week. Yeah.
He's getting in my team every week now. 6.1 thousand, averages 12.3 a game, and yeah, it's going to be a cracking match against Crystal Palace, and it's set up for Andros to do the business. He seems to be trying to haul Newcastle all by himself, except for one other player who's been great in the last sort of 2 or 3 weeks, and that is Vernon Anita. 3,500, only averages 4.3 a game, but don't let that fool you. The figures speak for themselves. He's averaged 10 points in the last 4 games. The last 2 games he got 12 points and 16.5 points. So his kind of form is coinciding with Benitez getting the message through to the players. So I think Vernon Anita could be a cheeky little pick at 3,500. It's worth doing.
Edo, do you have any cheeky little picks in your midfield? Show us what you got.
I've got a lot of similar little picks.
Okay.
Because Dimitri Payet is also in my team. Love you, Dimitri. Matthias Lanzini of West Ham, because averaging 8.9 at 4,100, you just had to take him. Because I was sort of going through my midfielders after Payet and going, well, who am I going to take? And then at that price, I went, right, he's in. I know that he'll be playing Jakob, awful human being that he is. This guy's a fellow Argentine, so hopefully they'll be yelling at each other. Argentines, lots of great insults in that language. Beautiful language. His price, I think, 4,100, is being kept down a tad bit by the fact that Bilic has been rotating a lot in midfield. However, Lanzini is a regular feature there and has been for the last 5-6 games. Wonderful feat. I think he's a great thing to have on my team. I'm really hoping he works out. Dimitri, of course, and Andros. There's a lot of agreement here. 6,100. Yeah, he's dragging that team by the scruff of the neck. And Newcastle do spread goals around, as in one day it'll be Mitrovic scoring 2, then it'll be Andros, and there'll be defenders contributing. I'm half expecting Dummett to score at some stage, and I kind of should have picked him now that I think about it. Mitrovic as well, I love that kid. Andros is averaging 12.3 a game, but in the recent performances has been a lot more. And I'll say this, I'll be stacking a lot of at Townsend. A minority will be going to Ramsey because of what happened last week. In fact, what happened last week is I found out about Prince's sad demise. Was really sad about it for about 10 minutes, then put 10 quid down on Ramsey scoring against West Brom. Unfortunately, he did not.
Okay. No. We didn't have to bring Prince into it.
Sorry, Prince.
That's okay. I've got tickets to see him. Tyrone, you like to expose your midfield?
I'll tell you what, this is the most boring thing ever. I've got the same 2 bloody players that these guys have got, haven't they? I've gone for Townsend for like 3-4 weeks in a row now. I've gone for him again because, exactly like Andy stressed, literally a one-man wrecking crew up there in Geordie land at the moment. He's doing everything he possibly can. His average has shot up over 12, which is brilliant, and that's been over quite a short period of time. Payet, same reasons after Mahrez, because Mahrez absolutely deservedly the player of the year as far as I'm concerned. Easily the second best player this season for me would be Dimitri Payet. Love him for loads of reasons. Obviously, his contribution to every game is immense. Even if, like you say, if West Ham were to lose 5-6, 7-0, he will still manage to squeeze out 16, 20 points, no problem. I also like him because he's overweight. And I always find that really impressive when you see a big unit dragging themselves around the pitch, being the best man there. He's brilliant, love him. And hopefully he'll stick it out in the Premier League next year. I really hope he does remain. I imagine he will. And then I've gone for a gamble in this one, 4.1 thousand. I've gone for Aaron Lennon. Yeah.
I nearly went for Aaron Lennon.
Did you nearly know?
Yeah. He nearly survived the cull, but
4,100 is not that bad. Yeah, it's,
4,100 is cheap, and he averages just shy of 7. And the thing is, I always find every week I have a gamble on a midfielder. They usually do quite good, and I think maybe this is the week. I think Lennon will turn up against Bournemouth. Who knows? That's my midfield.
Well, it's always good because when you're looking at the ownership of players too, you want to see it. And the advantage is choosing guys that aren't that owned, and if you can find that value in them. Forwards, generally, where you're going to spend a lot of your money. Edo, where have you spent your money on the forwards here today?
Bizarrely, I've gone lighter on the forwards.
Ooh.
Bizarrely, because normally I would tend to sort of spend a lot. Troy Deeney at 5,000 because, scored against Crystal Palace. No, look, so Watford's form, not fantastic, but they are playing Villa, the dumpster fire of the Premier League. So that's, at that kind of price, 5,000, I think he's a steal.
Troy Deeney against Aston Villa is a pretty good call.
Like, Igalo's more expensive, but Igalo's dead tired. So I think that Troy Deeney is here. Horrible defending from Villa last week. Another horrible defence, Stoke City. So a great striker. Jermaine Defoe, 5,100. He's averaging 9.5, but he's been scoring the goals of late. One bizarre thing, he's not scored against Stoke since 2009 when he played for both Portsmouth and Tottenham, and bizarrely he scored for both of them against Stoke at home. Ever since he's never scored against
in one season.
In one season, yeah. There was that year when he went from Tottenham to Portsmouth, then from Portsmouth to Tottenham. So that was one of those two.
He was in his 40s back then, so you can't really fault him.
Before he retired in Canada.
Yeah.
And, so those are my strikers.
Andy, who have you got in your forwards?
I've gone for Jermaine Defoe as well. I've gone for 2 strikers for similar reasons, that they're just playing against dog-awful defences. So I've gone for Jermaine Defoe, for the same reasons as you, and he scores away from home. So, hey, he likes to score away, doesn't he, old
He
Jermaine?
certainly does.
He certainly does. My other centre forward is, my other striker is my other forward. It's sacrilege. I can't believe that I'm announcing that I've picked an Arsenal player, but I have. Alexis Sanchez. I think he's going to absolutely destroy Norwich this weekend. He's got his bite back, he's got his form back, and yeah, it's 7.4 thousand. It's expensive, but I wanted to make enough money in my team for Sanchez and Payet, and I did, which is why my defence in goalkeeper is god awful. But yeah, at 7.4. 15.4 a game, he's gonna tear up.
Sanchez is one of those guys. He seems to be on a roll, but he could just hit a couple goals. Like when he gets going,
and he does.
One of those guys that doesn't stop with one goal.
He does more as well. He does more than just score goals, which is why his average is so high. Yeah.
All right, Tyrone, let's take us to your forwards. Who do you got?
I've got one of yours and I've got one of yours. In fact, I'm going to check each other's scores this weekend because we've got quite a similar team. I've gone for Sanchez. I've gone for Sanchez, exactly the same reasons. He loves beating up little teams as well, and you don't get much smaller than Norwich. Delia Smith and the gang. He's going to have fun here, I think. I can see him scoring 2 goals in what I've already predicted would be a 3-1 for maybe.
Delia Smith and the gang sounds like a terrible band, doesn't it?
I know.
It's like a really bad wedding band.
It's like a real bad gang from the Warriors.
Having a couple too many, and just
Delia.
left
Oh, I missed that. I wish he'd do more of that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Brilliant
That
show.
was great.
Oh, Delia. So yeah, Sanchez. Exactly. Cannot put it better than Andy did. He's a superstar, and he's hit the form at the right time, and he'd be way too much for that defence. Norwich are awful. And next to him, I've gone for the rehabilitated man. I've gone for Troy Deeney.
You love Troy Deeney.
I love Troy Deeney. I love him for loads of reasons. Yeah, exactly. He's a bit like Sugar Shane Long. It's like, hey, how are you? What are you doing here? Hey, you're all right. You're doing okay. You can stay. That's it. Troy Deeney in the Premier League. I think he's had a good season, and I think, he's playing a Villa defence that are just, we know what. He should have a good time. And yeah, he had a lot of gusto at Wembley last week. You know, I felt a bit bad for him that he was on a losing team, but there we are. I think he'll make Villa pay. That's my forwards, Deeney and Sanchez.
You've come up with nicknames for Sugar Shane Long, and you've chosen Deeney. Are you going to come up with a nickname for Deeney soon? Is this something we're going to work on?
Maybe for next.
Coming the weeks, Tyrone will have a nickname for Troy Deeney.
Yeah.
Better not run with Weenie. Let's go with our utility players.
Trojan horse. There you go. How about that?
No.
That's not
Take a week. Take a week.
Give me a week.
Take a week. Give him a week.
Take a week.
Put some suggestions in. We're really getting overwhelmed by your Twitter requests and all the things you guys are sending in. So keep it up. Utility players, Edo, 2 extra guys. Utes. Who have you got your utility guys? Where have you spent the money on?
So, actually, a little bit spent here. Joshua King at 4,600. Just like the way he's been playing of late. The average points, not good, 6.9, but against Chelsea he was hyperactive. You'll have Stanislas crossing in for him. I know, Junior Stanislas, good player. That's a surprise. But for this season, nothing to say. But 4 or 5 years ago, I used to laugh at him a lot. Bournemouth took the game to Chelsea, so I think that Joshua King can really sort of participate. Everton have been looking awful, just everywhere. And if they can't depend on the attack, the defence will let them down, and I think King could be in. So 4,600, great deal, I think. Another one, I may be too late here. Sebastian Prodl scored last week against West Ham. This week, he's got Aston Villa, and at 2,400, that's good enough for me.
Is he starting?
Yeah, no, he is starting.
2,400.
Very likely to start, but yeah, Van Dijk hit the post against Villa last week, so why not this dude?
Wow. Okay, Andy, how about yourself? Utility players.
Yeah, last time I didn't pick the last weekend's games, but during the week, Mark Noble. The last time I picked a DraftKings team. Just come out with the right sentence. Mark Noble scored me 30 points, and I got to stick with him. So I'm sticking with Mark Noble. 3.4 thousand, averages 7 points a game. But you know what? He might score 2 penalties again. Who knows? Then I can't believe I picked 2 Arsenal players in the side, but I picked Hector Bellerin. 4.2 thousand, averages 7.7 a game. But he's playing Norwich. Why not?
Why not?
Why not pick him? He's playing Norwich.
The devil you know, right?
There we go.
Tyrone, utility players.
Yeah, gosh, it's virtually the same again. I've gone for Mark Noble. Yeah, he's only 3.4, averages just shy of 8. He does ordinarily take the penalties for West Ham, and he's had a really good year. And you know, it's a bit of a running joke, isn't it, Upton Park, about how he's continuously overlooked by England. He's already 28. It's probably never going to happen for him. But you know what? He puts a shift in, week out. He's a proper West Ham boy, and they should be very proud of him. He's had a very good year. He's in my team as a utility player. Next to him, I've gone Arsenal. I've gone dark as well. I've got 2 of them in my team, just like you. But I've gone for one that might not even play, but it was only 2.2 thousand, which is all I had left. I've gone for Per Mertesacker.
Wow, that's a name I've heard in a while.
Yeah, exactly. Neither have I. I'm like, is he playing lately? I don't know. He's not injured according to DraftKings. So in you come. That's all I had left. He might play. He's not very good. But 2.2 thousand, I mean, there you are. I can afford the risk.
Well, let's take a look at all the lineups because it's all putting together. The lineups will start at Andy's lineup. Here we go. Pretty cheap in the end, in the starts here, and cheap in the side, but he's got some big money here. Payet, 8,200. Sanchez, 7,400. Big money there. Moving on to Edo's picks. Edo, again, some low value here, spreads it out quite nicely. Payet, again, the big money there. And some other big money on Dini and Defoe. Defoe, 5,100, a lot more than he would have been at the start of the season. Going on to Tyrone's lineup. Sanchez, the big money. Payet across the board. It's Payet for everyone. And Troy Dini at 5,000. And Mertesacker at 2,200. Let's see what happens there. Hey, it's all about having fun, putting together your own 11-man squad, having fun with your friends, and winning big. Hey, you could win big. Go to DraftKings.co.uk and welcome to the big time.